Who wants
Oh
to go
yeah.
first? Amazing haircuts, by the way. Our haircuts are just on point. So that's awesome.
Oh,
What we might do first is, did you want to introduce yourself? Like each of you just want to say who you are and what you do with the club?
I'll go first, mate.
Yep.
So Fershad Irani, otherwise known around the traps as Fish. I'm the president of Chinese Taipei Touch Association, and along with Ting, we keep the wheels moving here in Taiwan for touch football, not just at the national level, but also in Taipei, where we look after the local association and try and keep some social touch going there as well. So, player for the mixed open team at the moment, but also referee, organizer, assistant coach, you name it. We do it.
Awesome. And Ting?
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Ting fan. Well, I'm known as Ting. My real name is Tian In. That's my Chinese name. Um, yeah, we are part of the group. Well, we started as a group, I guess, years ago, and then we're currently like the people who are still here around and trying to make sure that the touch in Taiwan is still alive. Um, yeah, similar to what Fish said, we have many multiple hats. We have coaching hats on, manager, admin, player, referee, in Taipei City. I can say about Taipei City. And we've done touch. We referee in Australia. I've done NTLs. I've done State Cup to get my upgrades. We travel around the region for touch, either playing, refereeing, or yeah, playing or refereeing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think.
And when you say you had multiple hats on, like I met you recently at the Hong Kong National um, tournament, and I saw you first. You were refereeing, and there was an intercept. This is early in the day. It was just a 1 day tournament, and it started I think at like 8 in the morning, finished at 8. Like the last time slot was 8 o'clock at night. And you played 6 games, and then there was referees as well. And I saw you refereeing an early game, and you chased an intercept. Like
Uh,
not many referees do that when they've got to ref 5 games a day. And then I found out not only did you referee 6 games that day, we played against you, and you played
yeah,
six
yeah, yeah,
games. So you did
yeah,
12 games in 1 day, and
yeah.
you didn't look one bit tired at the end.
I was
Whereas
really
me,
tired.
all I did was coach. All I did was
Yeah,
coach, and at the end of it, I just was like, I'm buggered.
yeah,
So
yeah.
big yes, I do know exactly what you mean when you say you've got multiple hats on. Um, so we can talk about World Cup first, if you'd like to. So Chinese Taipei sending first World Cup, second. Have you played at World Cups before? Tell us a bit about like the history of World Cups if you've got any.
This is our second World Cup. We went to the one in Malaysia in 2019, and it was also a mixed opens team.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the second time we're going to World Cup. We really like to go send more than one team this time. We sent out the expression of interest for yes, 2021, 2022, and we collected quite a number of responses. But when it came down to like people working out the cost and the commitment level and how much, we said you gotta pay the deposit so we know that you're firm, that you really want to do it. That number really shrink. So we could not.
Mm.
It wasn't feasible for us to send more than one team.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's the only negative I've heard at all about it being in England is just sort of how difficult it can be to get there. I know with the Chinese team, a few have had visas knocked back as well, and as
mm,
young players still at universities, the cost is pretty it's pretty up there. That's the only thing. Like I'm sure England are going to host an amazing tournament.
yeah, yeah, I
So
imagine
just
so. I mean, Yeah, and I mean, I hosted many tournaments before. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so you're so mixed open are going for Chinese Taipei. You're playing. Are you both playing?
Yes, yes, yeah. So I'll be
Will
playing
you
coach.
playing coach? Will you be refereeing as well at this tournament? No.
Can't do more. Yeah, can't do that
So
one.
you'll have a bit of time to sort of enjoy yourself as well, than always being just needed on a field.
Yeah, yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be
Okay.
good.
So did you play? So you played in the 2019 World Cup. Did both of you guys play in that one?
Yes.
How did you go? How did you find? Did you enjoy it? I watched videos of. I wasn't there. My dad was actually there as a referee, and he said it was one of the hottest tournaments he'd ever been to, and there was a big difference with that. How did you guys find it?
It was good. It was really good experience for us. I think from the outset,
Well, mate, we're
we
kind of lucky in that.
oh
Oh, the internet. Go again.
oh,
Sorry.
is it, first you go there. Is it whose internet is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think it's my internet that's buggered up here
That's
at
all
the
right.
moment.
We've got you now.
Yeah, I mean, mate, for us, like, Taipei is quite similar, not exactly the same, but quite similar to Malaysia in terms of the heat and the humidity. So we were training in similar conditions leading into the tournament. Um, but as our first ever World Cup, and for some of our players, their first ever international tournaments of any kind, it was a big step up for a lot of us and just a huge learning opportunity. We mentioned cost just before. For us, the cost to get to Malaysia made it really affordable to make that step and take that leap and go, yes, we want Taiwan, Chinese Taipei on the international touch stage. So we really tried to seize that opportunity and get exposure for our players through that World Cup.
Yeah, awesome. And your team for this World Cup, is it very similar to the one you had at 2019, or is there some new players? Bit of sort of mix.
From the last campaign is just Fish and myself, right? Am I correct? Yeah, just Fish and myself. Yeah. As I guess all things life, right? So some people have moved on from touch. Uh, yeah. So some people just have moved on from touch, so it wasn't the same squad. There's a mixture of youth and experience, and we have more overseas players this time around than
Mhm.
last time. Last time we had two. This time I've got two, three, four based in the US, two in New Zealand, and one based in Australia, and then the rest of us are back here in Taiwan right now. So it's
Okay.
different.
So do you get together for training camp weekends, or is it just one big massive training session to like as a whole team, or is it sort of
We ha
scattered a little bit?
it's definitely scattered. To get everybody on the island at once hasn't happened yet. When we've been organizing open sessions since I guess late 2021, early 2022. So we've just been doing monthly, weekly, bi-weekly kind of thing. And then so when we did have players come back, we will train together. Most recently was probably in December, late December, when some players came back. Still, it's not the whole squad, right? It's just some
Mm-hmm.
people are just working overseas. So haven't had a full squad yet, but we definitely had interactive with players, every player in that
So
sense.
every player has trained.
Every player has changed. Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
cool. No, awesome. So another thing is, so you're based in Taiwan. Um, in research for this, actually, I was trying to. We got a little introduction clip at the start of each video, and I've got a little graphic of Taiwan on the map, and it's quite small. um, do you know, like, as far as just regular social competitions in Taiwan? Do you have if if I was to move to Taiwan, is it easy for me to access touch football? Is it sort of a well-known sport around Taiwan?
Fish, you want to take a go at this, Fish?
Around, no. I think if you look, one thing that surprised me, and I think it surprised a few people when they come to Taiwan, is just the amount of rugby that is here. And there's a lot of rugby, especially at the university level. And I think in rugby circles, some of them might know about touch, but it's predominantly in Taipei where you've got easy access to touch. There is a group in one of the other cities centrally in Taichung, which do also play social touch during the week. But in terms of having access around the island, it's pretty much in the capital where, to be honest, most of the foreigners that do land in Taiwan for the first time, that's where they start in Taipei. And yeah, but in terms of is it a well-known sport, for Taiwanese, no. I find myself explaining it to them like it's rugby, but safer and faster.
Yes.
And some of them might know what rugby is, and then you can start to paint that picture of like, okay, how the two sports differ, and they begin to have an understanding. But yeah, you wouldn't walk up to someone on the street and go, "Hey, you want to come down and play touch at the park?" They'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting because it's obviously it's very different. In Australia, where I'm from, we actually associate it with the other rugby, the rugby league. We do have rugby, but it's a lot probably not as well participated in our nation. So yeah, it's interesting to know about around the world. Usually, you get associated with rugby, and a lot of players will start playing touch after they retire from rugby because obviously you can't play that as long as you can play touch football. So that's really cool. That's interesting. So do you have like in Taipei or do you have like juniors where the kids can come and play touch football as well, or in schools or anything like that?
We kind of, at least at the Taipei Association level, we mix in seniors and juniors. So Ting can speak a bit more to the junior program, but we have one school, the American school in Taipei, that plays touch for a season of their sport. We have tried and we continue to try to get it into other schools. There's often issues around field space, unavailability of coaches, things like that that kind of prove a blocker for us initially. But we continue to push that envelope and try and get into schools. But yeah, I think Tim can talk a bit more to the junior
Okay.
aspect here.
Yeah, Taipei American School. I worked at that school. They have a program for middle school and upper school because they compete in like a conference. So once a year they train for, at least in the upper school, they train for about 2 to 3 months in preparation for the conference. So and it's only for females, right? Only for girls. And we have a varsity team and a junior varsity team that we train. And they provide kind of like the youth program in Taipei City, and we always invite the kids to come down and play on the weekends, social touch, just throughout the year as well after the season's done, just to make sure that they keep playing touch because otherwise they may not have the opportunity to do it, but they won't have the opportunity to do it at school. So we're trying to promote that. But yeah, like Fish said, we have tried. But like you see, you found the map of Taiwan is small, and then a lot of schools here do not have field space. They might have a
Okay.
track. It's not even a full 400-meter track. It might be a 2 to 300 meter track. And inside that track, it's not necessarily grass. It might be concrete or like a basketball court or other for this designed for other sports. So that's where I guess maybe a lot of sports will encounter roadblocks just because the school doesn't have the space, the facilities for different sports, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
Tom,
really that's really interesting.
it's also different culturally, mate. Like growing up in Sydney when I was a kid, you'd get home at 3:30, put your bag down, change your clothes really quickly and you'd head off to soccer practice, cricket practice, tennis, squash, whatever you're playing. Here it's also very different culturally in that it's education first and all that mucking around second. It's not seen as, in Australia, I think it's quite fundamental to childhood development and growth, and it forms part of your education. Whereas here it's viewed as like something extra on the side that's going to take away from your studies. So it's also kind of that battle of, yeah, parents would rather their kids, I think, go down that education path, and playing sports after school. If that's going to take away from that, then
Yeah,
it's not
that's more
something
your
that they.
it's more your reward for
Yeah,
for doing good in the education. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I understand that. It's something that we probably a lot of people where I'm from, we don't even think of that, but we should. Like it's important to know that next time we're complaining about sharing a field with a soccer club or a football club, that we lose a Tuesday night and we can't book the fields then, and we shouldn't probably complain too much because there's a lot of people out there that wish they had a field in the first place. So go back to the World Cup. Well, we don't have to talk about the World Cup here, but just so Taipei, like, or Chinese Taipei, Tachi, do you have like some goals as far as whether or not that be like where you're hoping to finish at the World Cup, or some goals as far as getting some more juniors or seniors playing touch? Have you got anything that you're working towards?
I guess a couple months ago, we worked on our individual identity for our players. So they are fully aware who they are, where they come from, because we want to use that to help us. So we did that, and then we worked on our team mission and our value as well, what
I
we
like that.
hold
That's awesome.
dearest. And it's something that we all agree upon that we will focus on, and then our goal will come from that. Hopefully, organically come from that as well. Personally, as a player coach, I love for everybody to enjoy the experience they're gonna have, because it could be a once in a lifetime, but for some, and then learn from a lot of the best players around the world as well. And in terms of like where we finish, one of our values is like one of my personal values is process focus. So focus on in the moment, focus on the process, and not necessarily on the results. I know we're supposed to be a high performance unit, but touch in Taiwan is I only had just over 23, 22 players to select from. So I don't. It's not like uh it'll be unfair to say like we're gonna finish at this position, but based on the number of players we had to choose from, where some other countries have way more resources, way more player pool to draw from. I want to keep it realistic as well. So
Mm-hmm.
be process driven, or process focused, and then results will come wherever that comes. It's not a big focus for me personally, but I'd love to hear what the team has to say about that as well at the next meeting.
No, that's cool. That's awesome. So, what do you think could help as far as touch in China, like Taipei? Like, I know, like, I've got my channel that does some analysis and things like that. Do you think meeting some elite players could help spark some interest in the community? Or what do you think might I don't know if you've actually had a think about this, but is there anything that anyone in Australia might be able to do to help? Do you have access to YouTube? I know in mainland China it's actually all banned, so it's quite difficult to watch my channel. And I'm trying to figure out ways to sort of get that content across to anyone that's got it banned. Do you have any ideas about that, or anything that sort of, I guess, well, you could call it tier one nations, Australia, New Zealand, England, those sort of nations that probably have access to those elite players and coaches, coaching staff, and resources? Is there anything you'd like from them to help with?
I first want to thank you, Tom, for making
Okay,
the content. Thank you, Touchscreen.
not
Um,
a problem.
we definitely used a lot of your videos, your analysis when I share with my team in terms of what we want to work on, and then for them to see it. So thank you, thank you, thank
No,
you.
not a problem. It'll
Yeah,
more to come as well. So, and I'm
yeah,
actually not to make it about the channel, but there will be some videos of me and some others actually on grass filming this time. It's I've finally got um, enough people that I coach that are willing to be on camera. So but it's just been raining here the last month, so we haven't been able to get on the field. So, but yeah, sorry, go back to that.
yeah, yeah. So we are lucky. We do have access to YouTube, so we do have access to resources. I just yesterday I had a call with George Junkies from Touch New Zealand, just making some contacts there, trying to figure out a system where there could be a coach mentor or coach support system with someone from their community as well. Because we're on the island and we don't really necessarily have teams there's definitely no enough tournament for us to play against, for us to improve, for me to improve my coaching, for us to improve our playing. So we do want to have people to bounce ideas off as well. Uh, but like, would a would an elite player come to Taiwan with that drama of interest? It's definitely not something I've thought about before, and definitely I don't have the answer to that question yet.
No, that's all right. Because I was just have been thinking when I've been sort of just communicating like with different countries about doing something like this. The software that I use to make my videos is actually it's a coaching software, but it's designed for referees. It's not.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it yet actually used for teams, and when I'm going through it, it actually looks like it could be really good for teams. And I think there's sort of a market value for coaches, for like those elite level coaches using. I don't know. You've heard Tony Trad? He's probably the most well-known coach in Australia. Well, he's retired from coaching Australia. He might be able to do some what we call satellite coaching and use something like that software on an online forum like this, and maybe coach coaches or something like that. So definitely definitely something we should be working towards. I think that could really help just grow the sport across the world, because in the Olympics they've introduced flag rugby,
Yeah,
which is like a competitor to our sport. So,
yeah,
oh, what
I think
else?
one of the problems we have is that the field we use, it's it's not impossible. It's difficult though to get quality footage from like that high up angle that would benefit a
Ah,
coach. We're too close to an airport to allow for drones, and then sometimes there's obstructions in the way if you put a camera up in the grandstand. Um, but like that idea of having satellite sessions with a coach. I don't know what Ting, your conversation with Georgia was like yesterday, but I mean that could help us because we did have Toru from Japan. He he kind of offered to come and run some sessions for our players as well, coaching our players because Japan is a few steps ahead of us in terms of their development. But then, you know, between Ting and I, we both were like, we can't do that to Toru because he'll just be coming for a few drinks in Taipei, mate. Like there won't be
yeah.
enough players around for him to coach. So that's probably the other side of that puzzle is like, if we do, even if someone does come over, do we have enough players based locally that would be interested in having a session? Um, or would
Hmm.
that person be interested in running a very beginners, very low level introductory kind of coaching workshop?
Possibly. We use and I'll put a link actually in this description to this video on YouTube. We use what's called VO cameras in Australia, and I'd say New Zealand. You've probably heard of those. They're just a little green spaceship looking thing. It's probably about that big, and it just goes on an extended tripod that goes about 4 meters up, and you actually just click go, or I've never used one. We've got it at our club. Someone else uses it, and it tracks the ball, so it moves for you. And they're becoming quite popular. Like when they first came out, you'd see one here and there, but now, if I go to a tournament and we have 10 games on a weekend or something, 6 of them will be recorded somehow with one of those cameras. So I'll put a link if anyone's interested in getting a camera like that. They seem to be just.
Are you able to name drop the software you use for your recordings as well?
Huddle. Yep, Huddle. So that's HUDL. The downside is if you're going to get Huddle, it's best to get it for like a group of people, because you can't just get it. It's not like a normal app where you can just buy it for one person. You've got to pay a decent chunk of money, but it can be used for about 50 people. So say, Fish, if you got Huddle and you wanted to give it to all coaches in Chinese Taipei, you're an admin user and they've just got a standard account. They can do all the coaching and stuff, but you can upload the videos and things like that. So it's HUDL, Huddle. And it's like an orange cover. I can post a link in there as well. But I use that. I referee rugby league, and we use that just to analyze referees' performance. And I noticed it had the little squiggly thing that I'd been looking for months. And I was like, wow, I had the software all along and I didn't realize it. But yeah, it's that is very handy as well. And I just have like a laptop that is touch screen as well. And I've got one of these. Whoop, just knocked it over. One of these pens that I use on it. So, do you guys have any questions for me or anything that you're wanting to know, as far as from where I'm from, or touch footy? You're probably pretty up to speed with Australian touch footy. I can't really talk too much about New Zealand. But yeah, we've pretty much talked about a good chunk of everything. You guys got anything for me?
Where are you based, mate? You said it's been raining all month, so I'm guessing you're in New South Wales somewhere.
Yes, yeah. So my regional affiliate is Hornets, Hunter Western Hornets. My local affiliate is the Maitland Redbacks. So we're about 2-hour drive north of Sydney.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so that's where I'm from. It's technically a rural town, but it is growing rapidly.
Yeah, Tom, 2 questions, I guess. First, why, maybe you explained this in other videos, but what was the reason behind touchscreen? Why did you decide to provide content for people?
So the first video, I had a couple of this mic here. I did content creation at my job, which I don't work for anymore. I've worked for someone else, and I got this mic where you just clip on here, and I don't have the camera with me, but it's just a little handheld camera, and I just got it for my job, and I needed somewhere to practice. So NTL was coming up, and I said, I'm going to put it on some coaches just to see how far the range is. And I ended up cutting the videos up and just putting them on the channel, which were okay. But then I wanted to try and use the squiggly just testing out some technology, and I decided to do an analysis of the 2022 State Cup Grand Final. So it was all just me testing out things, and I posted it on YouTube just because the video was about 23 minutes long and I couldn't send it to anyone to look at. So I said, I'll put it on YouTube and I'll send it to you and you tell me what you think. Next thing you know, I had 20 subscribers when I uploaded it. And the next day, I think that went to 100 subscribers. And I was like, oh, it's actually getting a lot of views. And then I'm getting comments, thank you, from Belgium. And I'm like, wow, okay, let's upload another one. And then I just said, oh, okay, if people want to watch it, I'll keep uploading. But it literally just came from me testing out software and testing out, like, I don't use this mic anymore. I've upgraded to something different. But yeah, just
wow.
Yeah, that's all it was. I was just using Touch Footy to test out all my sort of equipment.
Awesome.
It just shows you, right? Like how much desire there is for touch content.
Yeah, and so Seventh Touch is the one that like I follow Seventh Touch, and I think I like to think that Seventh Touch is really good at promoting the game, making the game look awesome. Like the highlights
Mm,
packages that he puts together, the stuff he does, like talking with the elite players and stuff like that. He's so good at making it awesome, but it's not really where you go to learn about the
mm,
nitty gritty or the technical side of it. So I'm trying to keep towards the educational side of touch footy, and he can have all the Ting, I think
mm,
his name is, can have all the amazing content that just makes you, well, that's a
mm.
good sport.
Yeah. I guess my second question is, Tom, I know you recently got involved with the Chinese team, the Chinese
Yep.
Mixed Open teams, and how are you doing in terms of your coaching? Because you are based in Australia and
Yes. So again, that was just I woke up to go to work one day, and I had an email from Jordan from China, basically asking if I was interested, and it was completely out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting anything like that, and so I was like, well, yes. So I have flown to China. I went there in December last year, and then
mm,
in March this year, we trained on the Saturday and then played in the tournament on Sunday. And I'll go back there one more time in June. So we just
mm,
have training camp weekends because we have people from Shanghai, like probably half a dozen are from Shanghai, and then there's just again scattered like probably your situation, but throughout China. So yeah, we have three weekends of getting together, and I think in June our senior mixed are playing against you.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
playing against team most of us, but also extra players too, because we can't put everyone back together for that tournament. So yeah, you'll be playing a club team with mostly the World Cup players. Yeah,
Okay.
so that'd be exciting.
That's really funny because Jordan was going to. I asked Jordan to ask you if the opens could just come over as well, and if there was
Oh,
field space. So we can
yeah,
bypass that, Jordan. I can just ask you directly.
yeah. I did respond to Jordan. I said, yeah, more the merrier. We only have to fill space for 4 hours, and then we
Yeah,
just gotta
well,
make
like
sure.
we don't have to play anyone if you'd specifically rather play our senior
No, no,
mix,
no.
but we're just happy to be with the like we want both teams to be together. So
Yeah, no, I think it'll be great. I said it's definitely available. Just have to make sure the games are shorter, and then we can fit everything in the 4 hours. But I
yeah,
said
no,
more teams, the better. Exciting
awesome,
stuff.
great.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Oh, sorry, you go.
How are you handling it, Tom, with all your players being based overseas? Are you doing like, are they sending you a lot of video, or are you kind of relying on some leaders in those pockets where those players are based to be your eyes and ears and feedback to you? Like, how are you handling it?
So we play sort of in the like pods, like we have a group of players that'll go on the field at the same time, and I've kept those groups to sort of like we have our Shanghai pod, we have our Guangzhou pod. So that group can message me and say, "Hey, we're playing Monday night. Um, what do you think we should do?" And I might just say, "Oh, just try this or something like that," and let me know how it goes. So I do just talking with just those little groups rather than sending a team directive. I want you guys all to do this because each group are doing a different thing.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
do you guys have one thing I'm going to ask everyone? Do you have a favorite player or team that you watch, like even of YouTube, or a team that you'd like, a player or a team that you'd like to be able to see live one time? Anyone ever asked you this? So,
I think for me, I always keep an eye out for where Wests are.
oh, yep,
Not
yep.
kind of, yeah, follow West as a team. But because first few times we went to Australia, Sydney for the New South Wales State Cup, we were kind of in with Victor and his mob at West, and
Yep.
they're a good family, and they kind of make you feel really welcome. So always got a soft spot in our heart for West Touch.
Yeah, I guess having gone to Australia, having gone to World Cup, so I've seen my fair share of like top elite teams, and yeah, enjoy watching all of them really because we learn so much from watching those elite teams. Um, yeah, I mean, I love to watch the old footage of the old, like I like the saying, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. So I love to watch the clips of touch players from way back where they helped us to shape and evolve the game too. That's why something I love to see live, I guess, in that way,
Yeah.
since it happened back in the day.
Mm. Back when it like touch used to be 7-a-side as well in the game.
Yeah.
I think on YouTube has got the 1997. It's like 1997, some national games, Australia playing New Zealand, and even just the game back then was so different because like there were certain rules that weren't put in place and stuff like that. Have you thought about play? Did you play at our state cup or did you just referee?
We just refereed. Yeah.
Well, if you're interested in playing, like I know that our teams are allowed to take up to 5 international players per team.
Oh,
A lot of people just don't know that, or they choose that they would rather take someone local, which obviously is fair enough. But you can always put your name down in an international player pool, and if you ever need someone to talk to a team that might need a player, because Jordan ended up coming and playing for Central Coast Dolphins men's 30s, and I was playing for Maitland men's 30s, and we played Jordan. However, Jordan did his hamstring and didn't play that game.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Tom. Hopefully, hopefully we'll get to go to Australia again.
If not assuming ages or anything, but I play in the over 30s, and from our first team that was named to the team that we ended up fielding was very different. It was a lot of it was a meniscus, an Achilles, a hamstring, a shoulder, 2 shoulders, and just so much injuries. We were just dropping like flies, and we ended up finishing the tournament, I think, with 10 players. So there's definitely some opportunities in the older divisions. But anyway, guys, I just want to say thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. You guys are the first interview that I've done, by the way. Yeah, it was a bit of a late notice, but hopefully, yeah, it went well, and hopefully, people get a lot out of this sort of stuff that we're doing. But yeah, so I will see you guys in about 3 weeks from when this is recorded. I don't know when I'm going to be publishing it, but yeah, again, thank you very much for joining me. For everyone watching, don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for promoting Touch in Taiwan. Thank you.
Not a problem, guys.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for everything you do, mate.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.